What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I'm here with Michelle and Casey after a very, very extended hiatus. We are so sorry, but life has been lifing.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Some of us have been traveling, some of us have been sick. We all went to the camp, which is the Walking Dead convention that is here at the end of May. We went to that, had a fabulous time. And now we're like, okay, we need to finish up these Daryl Dixon episodes, especially since we have a season 2 premiere date now. September 29th is when it's coming back. Great, because that means that this is probably the quickest spinoff to come back. Because they just premiered last September, remember? Right after Dragon Con. So this is right around a year. Great. We're getting season 2, The Book of Carol. They've been showing some of the trailers, which have been great. And we probably will do a separate show to break down the trailers and talk about that a little bit. But we're going to get into episode 3 of Daryl Dixon. And let me say, the beginning of this episode, I was looking at the screen, trying to figure out what the fuck I was watching. Like this dude in the theater with the Walker band. I was like, when I watched this episode, I said, oh my God, I hear Casey and I hear Michelle. No, excuse me. Let me stop. I hear Michelle in my head right now. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this?
Well, you have to have some type of entertainment,
I mean, and if he's been living there this whole time, I think we've already established this this timeline right now is probably somewhere between the 15 and 20 year mark. If he's been there in that theater by himself the whole time, you're gonna lose a couple of your marbles.
Yeah.
No, but he's not by himself. Remember, Brian's in the kitchen.
You really think somebody in the kitchen?
Girl, no. He thinks somebody in the kitchen.
Brian up on that stage. Kind of one of those issues.
Well, see, I'm going to defend him. So he was being very creative, innovative, because he was lonely. So it's, I would like to hear some music. I ran out of my records. So why don't I use my resources wisely?
Okay, so we've seen this before. We saw it in the main show with Princess and her little diorama of the walkers on the streets. But you know what?
She wasn't creative enough to make a band.
Okay, but here
that's true too.
Here's the big.
She was limited.
No, I won't even say she was limited. Princess was smart. She was like, I'm not about to make a lot of noise. I'm not about to draw a whole bunch of folks, a whole bunch of walkers, a whole bunch of people who might have some nefarious. No, hers was quiet. It was still entertaining, but it was quiet. I need to know how this dude has survived for so long with these walkers tied up to these instruments, and that street is not swarming with walkers.
Because it's a theater, and theater and the sound, they make it where you can't.
No, but
they're not going to hear out the street.
Laurent heard the sound.
I was just going to say, because at the end, when they're coming out, it was some sound.
And
I'm just helping them out. Like,
no, there is no.
And the lack of walkers in the area, period.
But they sure came this time.
After Daryl shot that, but the bang from the shotgun is probably more specific. The loud from the music is probably in the air.
Yeah, it's flowing in the air. It honestly is.
Way to pinpoint, it's coming from this building.
See, I didn't ask y'all to make sense right now.
No, it's making noise in the atmosphere, but that bang,
and it's flowing. They don't really know where that sound is coming from.
Okay, I will accept that, because it did sound like he had speakers set up, so it probably did deflect the sound, but still, it was like, one, he doesn't seem like he has. I'm trying to think of the nice way to do it. The elevator is not going to the top.
It's not. I'm just trying to help him out. It's not.
if that's
not.
just a side effect from being alone for so long, or if this was the way he was. I'm assuming it probably wasn't the way he started out, because if he actually had a working radio, if he actually was able to communicate with people, I don't know what happened to the radio. Maybe something died, maybe it broke, he couldn't fix it, and that's why he started because like you said, he probably had to entertain himself. You don't have a connection to the outside world anymore, and if you've been in that theater the whole time, you're probably scared to leave. But my question is, how did you get the walkers and actually get them set up to where you were able to secure them to these instruments so that they don't break loose and
bite you? I don't know.
And
it's a
what
dangerous.
My thought is, because we know Michonne will cut the mouth off. Nobody else thinks of that. Because even with the way you got them tied up, and somebody always and they end up breaking free.
Mm-hmm.
If you do the Michonne and just cut the jaws off, they get. Right. But nobody ever thinks of that.
But nope.
If you're going to use the walker for protection or entertainment or any of these other millions of reasons that you do what you do, why wouldn't you protect yourself so that it won't kill you?
Well, he wasn't thinking this plan all the way through.
Clearly. Very clearly.
How often do you have to change these walkers out? Because I'm going to assume that you can't keep a walker like that for 15 years without some type of deterioration, without some type of breaking down of the skin, the muscles, the tissues, the bones. You have to be replacing these things. Who is doing that?
No, he is.
I don't see Michelle.
He's doing that. It's just like when you have to work on your instrument. The strings have to be replaced. Those type of things, and that's what he does. So when he's doing,
won't bite you back,
right? However, I don't know how he is doing it, but we also have to think he is musically inclined. He could be a genius, and being by yourself and not being able to actually have deep conversation with other adults on your level has drove him mad.
I wish the people who are just listening to audio only could see the faces we are making while we're trying to justify what this guy is doing.
Justify why he crazy as a jaybird.
I mean,
because you got to think somewhere out there's a person who likes chess and they have a walker on the other side of the table with their hands holding chess pieces, and they move it with strings to feel like they're playing chess with someone.
You're right. Because if you lonely enough, you fuck. Let me talk to dead Fred or something. Because at some point you
right. So you got to think
some type of those.
Right. You got somebody who play cards. You got 3 people at the table with them with cards in their hand.
But cut their mouth off.
That's true. But he doesn't know. He won't know until he get bitten, and then he needs to do that.
Yeah.
And but it'll be too late. It's too late, and the music stops. So.
Oh.
Oh, the music gonna stop.
As much as I'm sitting here,
one of them go get free and get his ass.
They are.
See, that's my concern, because I'm again, you can only use those same walkers for so long. They did look somewhat deteriorated, so maybe this was a more recent thing for him. Like I said, I don't think he has been in this mindset the whole time. It doesn't make sense.
He just started off with somebody with tambourines.
Or the drums.
Remember, he had the little thing, the hands wrapped.
Right. So then after one, he was like, okay, I got this. Let's go capture a walker.
The funniest one is the harpist one. It's just a head hanging down.
I was so done.
Said, oh, Lord.
I was so done. But the funny thing is, as much as I'm sitting here voicing my concerns and voicing my disbelief that this man has created this little system, I was still a little bit annoyed with Daryl, because Daryl was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is a waste of time.
Yeah, he said this was a stupid detour.
This was a dude. This man been alone for how many years? You have had family around you. You've had people that you care about. You've had other children.
Right. People he care about that he's trying to get back to. And you can't say you got a damn radio and you done use the parts for your goddamn Walker Symphony over here.
Well, he didn't actually say it. That was what Isabelle had said, because this was someone they had communicated with before. So
yeah, but how long ago was that? If he done destroyed the damn radio already,
yeah, but she wouldn't have known it. She wouldn't have known it. And I'm gonna take a break real quick to apologize in advance if y'all hear a lot of stuff in the background. We have a brand new kitten in the house, and right now him and Leia are currently at a standoff. So there's a lot of hissing going on in my room. So if it picks up, that's what it is. Nobody's dying. It's just,
not a lot of hissing.
Yeah.
You should hear it over here. I'm like, somebody sounding like a walker right now, just with all the growling and all this other stuff.
Because they said it's only room for one of us up in here.
Tiger Lily has not even come upstairs. She has not come upstairs since I brought Apollo home. She comes upstairs, uses the litter box.
Who is this new person? You
goes right downstairs. Yep.
Like, why did she do this to me?
And you know, she had the conversation with herself, like, I only had one person to contend with. And she was, the hierarchy of the house. I only had one person I had to deal with.
Yeah.
Now, this new person.
Yeah. So also those of you who are watching, if you happen to see our newest podcast host pop up in the, in the camera, that's Apollo. So anyway, going back to this theater. So at the end of last episode, after the Abbey was attacked and everything, Daryl and Isabelle were trying to figure out where they were going to go. Daryl was like, we need to go to Paris. And Isabelle was the one who actually said, no, let's go to Algiers, because there's a guy with a radio there. He may be able to help you communicate with someone back home so we can get you home. Okay, so obviously this doesn't work, but I think in a sense, I would say the detour probably helped them, and at the same time didn't help them, because we see that Cadron has looked at the map. This is the big gorilla dude who thinks Daryl killed his brother. He looked at the map that was at the Abbey, and he sees that their destination is Paris. So he's like, okay, I'm going to go to Paris and find him. The thing is, okay, y'all aren't in Paris right now, so maybe y'all can miss each other. I don't think that's going to happen, but maybe you can miss each other. At least, we see at the end of it, it doesn't. But at the same time, I feel like if they had it.
We'll get to that part. See, he found him quick as hell, though. But we'll get there.
But I think because he went straight to Paris. He didn't take the detour. See, Daryl and them took the detour. I think if they wouldn't have stopped, if they had gone straight to Paris, they'd have gotten there quicker. And Daryl could have been gone at that point, because, we find that once they do get to Paris and they find the people that Isabelle had been communicating with, or that's part of this big movement of theirs, that kind of focuses on Laurent being this little savior figure. Their method of communication is homing pigeons.
Girl, Daryl was so hot with that.
Like, what is this shit right here?
And I mean, okay, again, Daryl, you got to understand, you are in a whole different country. Things are just a little bit different. If you didn't notice this in the first 2 episodes, you definitely noticed it in this one. You got exploding walkers who are getting up from falling out of 2 and 3 and 4-story apartments. They are falling on the ground, going splat, and getting up and kind of cracking their neck and keep going. What? You've already seen the burning walkers.
Isabella's standing there like she ain't never said if she don't do something.
So I think she was traumatized because she saw the little girl that she had told to go home You know, in that first episode, when we
Yeah.
saw her fleeing, she told the little girl Amy to go home. So to come into the courtyard and to see her zombified corpse stuck in brambles, I was like, first of all, how did she get there? And I'm thinking before she made it to her house, she probably got attacked. Remember when Isabelle, Quinn, and her sister were leaving, there was a car crash right outside the building. And at that point, people were turning like almost instantly. So it's possible that somebody from that accident, or maybe just somebody else who had been attacked, came across the little girl, attacked her, and she ended up not going anywhere. And then the kind of the tree branches and the ivy and everything just kind of grew up around her, and now she's stuck. And it's just, I think she was traumatized by that, because I mean, anybody else probably at that time probably would have thought, hey, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where your parents are. Get in the car. I'm not leaving you here to die. Right. I mean, because at that point, the world is kind of falling apart. Nobody would exactly accuse you of kidnapping a child. You saved the child, and chances are, I mean, if she ended up in that courtyard, chances are her parents didn't make it either. Right. Her parents could have been two of the people that fell out of those.
Fell out the window.
Yeah. But I was like, you have the burning walkers, because Daryl used one of those burning walkers to kind of burn away the branches when they couldn't get out the door. I was like, okay, he's
like that.
On his feet.
Yes, inventive, innovative.
Right. Knife clearly wasn't sharpening good.
But you have all of this stuff going on. You're seeing things in France that you have never encountered in your area, in the States, whatever. So maybe they gotta do things a little bit differently. Maybe a homing pigeon is the only safe way to
Well, first of all, I mean, honestly, that's what we used in the past. So
that's really what he said. That's what Master Raymond said. And I'm gonna call him Master Raymond because I can't right.
So I'm kind of be like, come on, Daryl, we gotta get on the same page. See, we need to be like this at home. We don't have other ways. Okay, you can't text a friend. All right. And I'm sorry, these walkie-talkies really should be dead. But
I mean, we've had this conversation, and they're not reliable. I mean, you were over
so
there
the pigeon.
You were in the States listening to Carol on the radio, trying to tell you somebody came home, and of course the name kind of cut out, so you can't hear. So the radios aren't even like
right. So a pigeon works.
Come on now. A pigeon is not going to fly from France to America.
No, we're not going to have that.
You got stops, just like a train station.
No, there ain't no stops for me. That pigeon is dead.
I'm just saying. Over the ocean. He ain't got nowhere to land if he gets
no, he can't take no break. No.
If he sit on the water,
however, it's something we can use locally, and it's a great idea. We're going back to our, it's going back to our roots of communication. How helpful
it's going to be, I don't know. But I mean, maybe it doesn't have to go all the way to the States. Maybe it just needs to go to another station wherever the pigeons are going. And maybe those people have a radio and can call over to the States. So
that's what I'm thinking.
I'm not saying that they're relying completely on the homing pigeons. This particular group is having to, because of course, as we see, they don't have a radio.
No, but it's the best form. It's the best form of communication, because honestly, the radio, if you're trying to be sneaky and using the radio, somebody else may listen in on the radio, but the bird, they don't know which bird is your bird.
And unless you absolutely know that is an actual messaging system,
right?
Who's gonna think to look at a pigeon and be like, oh, I need to shoot that down,
right?
Because they're containing a top secret message. Like, who's thinking that?
Well, they should, because again, that's a form of communication that's reliable. However, you just don't know which bird to shoot.
But again, okay.
If you're hungry, it don't matter which bird you get or what message he relays. Because I'm sorry, at this point, I mean, they have a system where they have gardens and ways to produce food. But for
Mhm.
the people that's out there that can't, I see a bird, I'm like, hey, every Tuesday around 3 o'clock, I see this bird come by. I'm gonna get his ass. And he gonna be lunch.
And then when
And then
you
you gonna buy the
chewing,
rest, like, oh.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You chewing, you be like, what's this? A piece of paper.
Well, I would hope
It has
you
a
would remove
message.
the paper before you actually cook the bird. Like you
No.
don't expect.
No, they not. Some people be so hungry, they
Yep.
putting it on there with the feathers and all.
Yep, just on the spigot.
Just boom, boom,
I hope I
crispy
never get
feather
to that
skin.
point.
crispy.
Because if a zombie apocalypse like that happens, I'm gonna starve. You're not gonna find me. You're not gonna find me eating pigeons with feathers, and you're not gonna find me eating raw turtles off the ground. It's just not about to happen.
Oh, that's
it's not going.
Oh just, my gosh, that's nasty.
It's just I'm just saying we've seen it. It's not gonna happen.
Eating it was just trying to survive somehow.
I know. Still not gonna happen. I think I have enough meat on my bones to last me for a minute. I will just, no, we won't do it.
You have to be like the little kid on the Golden Child where he just ate a leaf a day.
No. Okay.
Oh goodness.
So let's talk about this group. So it's interesting because as they're walking to Paris, they start having conversations, and you see again Laurent opening up a little bit more to Daryl, but I also think you see Isabelle opening up as well. I will say this.
She's been open, but
well, I mean, as far as like with Laurent,
I know. I'm just
no, because we're about to go there because you were pulling the direction I was coming in. I still kind of feel like they are trying to give us this little like semi-romantic vibe between Isabelle and Daryl, and I am not here for it. Like, I can understand there might be a little bit of tension. I mean, Isabelle has been a nun for the last however many years, and we clearly see in this episode she was not about that life before this apocalypse happened. We saw it from the fall of Paris. She was a party girl. She was a drug addict. Apparently, she also has some issues. We see where Quinn talks about how he found her in the bathtub after she tried to kill herself. He was the one who took her to the hospital, nursed her to health. So we know that she's not the stereotypical image of what we think a nun is, right? And she even says that to Daryl when they go back and find her old stash of drugs and stolen things. She
changed her ways.
Yeah, I wasn't always a nun. And he was like, I see that.
But I don't look at them as romantic. I don't see Daryl as having a romantic feeling for her. I think he's more protective.
And I get that, but I feel like there's an undercurrent that they are trying to, I don't know, like it almost feels like they're suggesting it. And I'm just like, I don't want to see it.
I didn't get that.
It's kind of hard too, because when you're in Paris, it's just so hard.
What? I don't even know if
it is. It's just so hard. It's just, it's not like we, in the forest in Atlanta. It's just, this is a different vibe going on. And
right. And that's the thing that I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. It may not be, it's just that it's just that vibe in the air for everybody, everyone may break down.
I mean, I think
that's why that man went crazy and made his, walker. It's that vibe, you just, ooh. And he's like American in Paris. It's something new.
Michelle threw my whole comment off. Because not only is she saying the stuff, for those of you who are just listening, she's sitting here, she got the little look going to the camera. She got the little head shaking. She's shimmying her shoulders a little bit.
Yeah.
So she's saying that's not the vibe, but she's also saying that's a little bit of the vibe. I'm not
right, it is. And if she starts speaking French, it'd be like, oh yes. I mean, this is different. That's why he not like he
vacation
normally is
state.
at home. It's like a vacation. You know, everybody know this. You go on that vacation, especially if you kind of single, and you just be vibing. That's what he's doing.
I can't with you.
And it's gonna end because she's not gonna leave, and he's gonna go home. So
and
this
see,
is just so they
again,
can't make
that's
them
the
have
thing.
no real relationship.
I don't feel like it's a blatant thing. I just feel like it's kind of like
It's there. They're just trying to throw. They're trying to make. They're trying to throw it out there. It's like Connie. They threw it out there, but they just didn't like. It's
But
like
no,
fishing.
No, Connie, that was a thing. Like
it was a thing for us. But they ain't together. So what I'm trying to say is, it seemed like all these women, when they get around Daryl, there's something around Daryl, especially when he clean.
And that was the other thing I was going to say, because I feel like even though there is that little undercurrent there of whatever it could be, I also feel like they kind of using it to show maybe not necessarily Daryl's sex appeal or his attractiveness, but just the fact that for all of these women that he has been around, whether it's Carol, Leah, Connie, whatever, he's a safe space.
Right. And
I do feel that, but the vibe to me still comes off a little bit weird.
You wasn't with that vibe when she was bathing him, which could be a point, but you wasn't with that too when she was giving him a bath.
I was not, because I was like,
that don't even sound right, giving him a bath, but that's what she did though.
Like Daryl didn't even open up to the people he's lived with for years that freely. So, but
except for Beth.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave him when him and Beth was together.
Yeah,
they opened up to each other a lot.
Yeah, they did. But I think also because there was a bit of a kinsmanship between him and Beth, because both of them were damaged in different ways, and I think that's why they gravitated towards each other. And I think had Beth lived, I think you would have seen the type of relationship that he had with, like, say, Rosita, where it was, and I know that there were some people who shipped those two. I just don't understand Daryl and Beth, because
Daryl Rosita.
No, Daryl and Beth.
Oh.
There were people who shipped Daryl and Beth. But I think with that vibe, I think it would have been more like Big Brother.
But I can see it. Oh, sorry. I could.
So how can you see Daryl and Beth, but you can't see what they're doing here with Daryl and Isabelle? Look.
I didn't say I couldn't. I'm just saying Isabelle hadn't been, and you don't need a man. That's not what I'm saying. So don't get this from this. But Isabelle's last man was an asshole. And she with no man since. And the next man, who is a good, kind man, you can see it in his eyes.
Yeah.
Comes along. You can't help it though. You can't help to feel the pull. And Daryl already pulls.
Yeah.
He's that type of personality, he pulls.
Yeah.
Now, if it was the Daryl we first met, this relationship wouldn't have been happening. But this Daryl
that had the ears on the necklace.
That wouldn't. She would have been like, But this Daryl here, where even though you can protect your own self, you feel safe. He gives off the vibe that he does not judge, that he actually is listening, even though he's quiet most of the time. Yeah, you're gonna have a vibe with him, and you're gonna want to have to screw him too. However, this ain't a long-term relationship.
No, because Daryl needs to go home. There's too much.
Because he gonna go. I feel like he gonna go home. So, what's gonna happen? Either she dies or she stays, but she's not coming to America.
Yeah, I don't see that, especially not with Laurent being the figure that they have made him out to be. Like, they have literally, I don't want to say promoted, but they have kind of raised this little boy up as to be like the next Messiah or humanity's next hope, which, like Daryl said, that's a lot to put on a child. But with that also being her nephew, and this is going back to my original point, this is what I mean by her being more open, because when you first meet her with Laurent, it's like she's caring, but you can tell she's holding him at a distance. And then when we find out that that is her sister's child, and also what the implications of his birth could mean, she's looking at him like he has a greater purpose. And if I allow myself to get too attached to him, I may not be able to let him go to fulfill that purpose. It's kind of similar to what we see in The Last of Us with Joel and Ellie. You know, that was also another relationship where Joel was taking Ellie to the doctors. He had planned on having no attachment to her. And then when it gets to the end, she's like his child, and he can't get rid of his own feelings, or he can't tamper down his own feelings in order to help the greater good. You know what I'm saying? And you kind of get that. I kind of feel like you see that a little bit more with Isabelle in this episode, especially because she's talking to Laurent so much now about his mother. And I don't think she did that as much before. So it's kind of like you're giving him these little tidbits and these little pieces, but I still feel like at this point, she has not told him that she is his aunt. And I think that's kind of why Daryl is so upset with her, because he's like, you need to stop lying to this boy. You need to just tell him the truth. You know, you can say, oh, yes, I knew your mother, and give these little tidbits, but there's something more there. And that little boy needs to know. And like Daryl said, he needs to know where he comes from.
Right. And it is, we're going to go back to this back and forth. There's really, honestly, come on, friends. There's no reason why you shouldn't have been told him who he was.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I agree.
I thought he knew he was the aunt.
I don't think he knows that she's his aunt yet, because you've never heard either one of them refer to each other as aunt or nephew. Even in this episode when he's talking to the singer, and she looks at Isabelle and Quinn, who she, you know, bumps into during the course of this episode, she looks at him and says, "Are those your parents?" He says no. Now he could have easily said, "Oh no, that's my aunt. That's my guardian. That's the person who raised me." Something. He just says no. But again, this child, Laurent, I feel like he actually does see things and know things before they happen. I don't know if he understood at this point that Quinn was his father. I don't think he put those two together yet. But for the singer to look at Isabelle and Quinn, and I don't know if it was just the way that he was behaving, his body language, something about the way that he was with Isabelle, she was immediately suspicious. All of these people around okay, hold on. We're gonna take a break from that. I'm gonna stop that train of thought. If the world comes to an end, I am going to Paris, because over here they have Walker gladiator fights. And in Paris, they have a whole fucking nightclub complete with a drag queen, complete with entertainment, complete with dancers. I'm going to Paris. I'm going to go sit.
Clearly in the wrong place.
Clearly. Yeah. I am going to struggle my way through the catacomb entrance, because that would freak me out already. If you haven't seen it, go look at a movie. It's called As Above, As Above, So Below. It's about it's a horror movie that takes place in the catacombs.
Nope. The sad part is, as it's on the screen right now, I thought about it too, and I'm like, I haven't watched it, and I don't want to.
But I
want to sleep.
I would brave going through the catacombs if I could just spend my zombie apocalypse in a nightclub where he has alcohol, he has art, he like commandeered art from the museums, he has real alcohol, not the bootleg shit, not the I'm gonna go make this in a factory in a beer factory. No, he has real alcohol. That's where I'm going. That is where I'm going. But anyway, going back to my point. But yeah, I don't know if Laurent picked up on the vibe, but he obviously knew something was there. And like Daryl said, this boy deserves to know where he's from. When we find out that Quinn is the father of Laurent. Okay. When I say my mind was blown, but at the same time,
he looked sneaky and dirty and nasty, and he looked like he would be.
And her sister, we already established
sneaky,
in the first
dirty,
episode.
nasty.
No, I don't even think her sister was in that. Like her sister, we had this conversation in the first episode about the sister seeming very I don't want to say immature, but it seemed like Isabelle was taking care of her. Like she wasn't fully mature. And I don't know if that was just personality. I don't know if that was just because she was sick and was, just kind of being needy at the moment. But I could easily see a situation where Quinn could have manipulated that. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
I thought about it the first time I watched the episode because Quinn, when he finally drops that bombshell to Isabelle, once she says, "Oh, this is Lily's boy, Laurent," and he was like, "Okay, all things aside, you shouldn't have kept that from me." And she was like, "What? That my sister died? No, that I had a son out there." And she's like, "What?" She's clearly like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "It was a mistake, blah, blah, blah. But you shouldn't have kept it from me." I was like, how the fuck was she supposed to know? If she's just not figuring out that you are the father
and
because
you said it was a mistake,
why would she even think that, oh, this is your son? But then when I watched it again today, right before we started recording, I said, oh, you know what? I'm going back to that scene where they were trying to get out the city and Lily got sick. They had to pull over in the car. She threw up. And, that was when Izzy found out she was pregnant. And she was like, why didn't you tell me? I'm sorry. I thought you'd be mad. If Quinn overheard that and then not 10 seconds after that, Izzy stole the car, he probably thought that Lily told her at that moment. And that was why Izzy left him. Because sense. She was like, oh, you trying to leave my sister, but you're the one who put her in this? So I was like, oh, that makes more sense.
Well, and then also, I'm sorry, but you told me to ditch my sister. I'm going to choose my sister. Then, so he can't even think that either. He could just think, oh, she actually chose a sister, which will make perfect sense. I've been taking care of her. So why would I ditch her? Dude, come on now. Yeah. You ain't that great. No. I mean, thank you for saving me because I would have been dead to where I was. However, you're not that great that I'm going to ditch my sister for you at the end of the world.
Right.
We're not married. We had no kids together. And you're not even attempting to try to take her. You're saying ditch her.
Yeah, she's sick.
However, he got some good survival skills because he survived and he owns a club. So
like he's the big man on campus.
This is my question. Because the singer is apparently his girlfriend. Because she questioned him after he comes to the bar. Wouldn't you know if that was your man, kid? Like, wouldn't there be an inkling? I'm just saying to myself, because you asked if those are your parents. Ain't that your man? And wouldn't he have mentioned, oh, maybe I got a kid out there?
No, you know what?
No, he wouldn't have.
Maybe she was asking about Daryl because Daryl was over there too. So maybe she was asking if Daryl and Izzy.
Okay, got you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then at this time of the world, you have kids. They probably dead. So why do I need to mention I may have a kid out there in the world?
Right.
I was thinking, okay, now that you said that it was
because I thought I just thought about that when you asked that question. I was like, oh wait, Daryl was there. So maybe she was talking about Daryl and not Quinn. So yeah. Sometimes we come to realizations when we have someone to talk things out with, because I was confused about that too. But that would make sense. And then even if those weren't his biological parents, I mean, we've seen in the zombie apocalypse, people have children all the time that are not biologically theirs because of the circumstances. So those could very well have been his parents.
Yeah.
But the way that he dropped that news to Izzy and was like, you couldn't tell me I had a son, and she was just looking like
she was really confused.
And then she was hurt because not only are you telling her at this point that you betrayed her, you are also letting her know that her sister betrayed her. Now, whether it was on purpose or not, we will never know because Lily is dead. We don't know the circumstances. Again, This could have been, Lily could have been a willing participant. She could have been coerced. She could have been manipulated. Quinn could have just made googly eyes at her and she thought, oh, okay, we don't know how serious him and Izzy were at the time. So there could be a whole bunch of things that contributed to that. But the fact is, you have now like completely demolished my last memory or my last thoughts of my sister. Like, you have put this image in my head now that my sister, however it happened, betrayed me. I would hate him so much right now, because the other thing is, what the fuck you gonna do with a child in your current situation, in your current circumstances? One, you have not been around this child, so it's not like he's gonna be like, oh, you're my dad, I'm gonna come stay with you.
And she ain't having that anyway, even if he thought that he was doing that.
Because Laurent has a greater purpose, and it ain't being in the nightclub with his daddy.
Yeah, to take over.
With the sperm.
This could all be yours.
Yes, you're going to inherit the nightclub.
No. Laurent has
right
greater
here, baby.
purpose. He has greater purpose.
You.
But going back to Laurent, so again, they're really pushing this whole thing about Laurent being the savior, being humanity's great hope. And I just find it like there are certain things that you can kind of explain away in a way that makes sense. Like the whole thing with the lady who lost her husband. That, they said that she lost her husband a few days ago. She couldn't be consoled. She wouldn't eat, like nothing. She wasn't allowing people to comfort her. And then Laurent just kind of notices her, goes upstairs to her, and immediately he's able to comfort her. And you can see her kind of come out of that shell. That can easily be explained as empathy, compassion, just him having a way to connect to people. Mm-hmm. The other thing, when Izzy and Daryl are having that argument and Laurent comes up to them and he's like, you both, you did this. I hate you both. And we're like, at first I'm like, did he overhear this conversation? No, it was because Cadron and his people were coming in to attack. So I was like, did he sit?
That was, I thought it was because he heard them. Mm-mm. He heard them say that old boy was his dad.
I don't think that's what it was. I think it was because literally after he said that, Cadron and his soldiers burst in the door with guns blazing.
But if
and see, that's the thing, because like with Laurent's character, it could be either one of those things. I think the perception that they're trying to give us, because he's supposed to be this savior and all this other stuff, is that he has a way of knowing these types of things. But then when you, like you said, the conversation, he could have overheard that conversation. I personally don't think they were being loud enough for him to hear it. But it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, which one is it? Did he hear the conversation, or did he know that Cadron was showing up? Or maybe I was going to say he could have seen it, but he was in the bed. And honestly, I don't think Daryl and Isabelle would have had that conversation so close to Laurent's bed, especially if Daryl was trying to sneak off before Laurent even knew he was gone.
So that's also what made me think that he did hear the conversation, because it's like you trying to sneak off while I'm not paying attention, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So because you basically ditching me, mm-hmm. I'm mad and I'm gonna run out the window. Right? He needed a whooping at that point, but
I heard your voice when he disappeared. I said, "This boy is worse than Carl."
I said it. I said, now he need his damn ass whooped. Why mm-hmm. is you climbing out a damn window? Nobody care about you being mad. Better be mad in that bed.
Right. You need to stay where people can protect you, because obviously you need protecting. This is not the first time.
You
Because
never
this is
let Father Jean Paul eat your ass up.
But this is the same dude who came and shot up the Abbey. So obviously he might, even though we know he's following Daryl, Laurent don't necessarily know that.
But no, he know that when they was at the Abbey, old boy was trying to take him, talking about, oh, we're gonna make him a soldier.
Right, that's what I'm saying. As far as he knows, Cadron could be coming after him. So I'm gonna need you to stay with the people who can try to protect you. I mean, granted, at this point, after we see what happens, like he takes off, Daryl takes off, him and Cadron have this big fight, which, okay, Daryl, I need you to stop leaving people alive, because if you were back home,
you would have
killed him without thinking twice.
Yeah.
No hesitation.
Yeah.
This man literally came across the country to find you. And you know he was looking for you, because when they burst through the door, what did they say? Where is the American? You know he's looking for you. So why would you sit there and just choke this man out? I know you got a little more strength than that, Daryl. You need to kill this motherfucker.
No, he had on the bulky coat, and old boy had that coat on with the collar, with the little fur collar. And so trying to strangle him, he was like, and then the people started shooting at him. So he was like, I don't want to get shot, right?
See, if he had killed him first off, they wouldn't have even gotten that far. Or if you can't kill him by strangling him, okay, you got on thick, bulky clothes. He got on thick, bulky clothes. Okay, I got it. Where's your fucking knife, Daryl? Stab this dude in the head. You've done it plenty of times. I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you continuing to leave this
remember,
dude?
the knife was just out of reach. It was like,
Do you see the look on my face?
The knife.
We've been talking about Daryl and his non-lethal decisions since this show started.
Hell, he stabbed Beta in the head with 2 knives. Like, and then look, how do you this is the real question. How do you drop the knife to have the nunchuck holder thing in it? How's you holding the knife? Because in order for somebody to knock that out your hand gotta be like this. And
we know Daryl hand ain't never splayed out like that. Daryl is always like this.
He always fisting. Wait, that's not nasty. He always has his fist balled up.
Yeah, okay. All right.
He always has his fist balled up. So if you have a knife with the fist, the thingies, the finger holes,
right, brass knuckles.
But how is that out your hand? In that case, you need your ass whooped, because who taught you how to fight?
I told you, since he came to France, he act like he forgot killing walkers one-on-one.
Again, and I tell you, when you're on vacation, common sense goes out the window. We are not having this
vacation conversation.
It's like when you are out of your element, common sense goes out the window.
I was going to say, because this ain't no vacation.
Because we said that at the very first show, when you walked into an empty ass room without tapping on the door to see if fucking walkers was in there. So now you got your ass burnt. Like, you've been in this apocalypse for 20 years at this
point. But you also have to realize that who has really Daryl fought in a while?
It's not the point of fighting.
It is, though. Yes, it is. You lose that edge. When was the last person he really, truly fought that was strong and had combat training?
I don't know yet.
Oh, I really got to think about it, because I'm trying to think, like, in the Commonwealth, like, yeah, he fought Lance and he fought a couple of people, but
he fought people on the boat. Oh, did we get there yet? Yeah, we talked about how he got to France. Yeah, so the people on the boat.
He had to, because Madame Genet said in that last episode, what did she say? It took us three years to get this ship, in tip-top shape, seaworthy. And it's all like done because of one American. So he had to fight to get off.
He did, but again, I said combat ready. I didn't say all those soldiers was combat ready.
Well, we don't. Okay, we haven't got
like a tough fight yet. Like the governor, like a tough fight.
Beta.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Right. That's what I'm
Beta.
talking about. That right there, where he could have picked him up and threw him over a bridge, but he fought him.
Yeah,
So
because
he's a little, you know, that's okay. Because normally
but
he's
I'm
shooting
sorry.
and arrowing.
It's only
That's
been
not a
like
word, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
we gotta say it's
And
been
they do.
okay.
He need to find a damn bow and arrow. God damn
See,
it.
that's
I'm
his
over the stick.
That's
Get this man a
too.
bow and arrow.
that's his thing.
But
You see what I'm saying? So
but I'm sorry, you can't like okay, we don't know the timeline from the Commonwealth, the end of the main show to this show.
Mhm.
Obviously, probably a couple of years, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to tell me that those couple of years when he's been out on the road, when he's been trying to find Rick and Michonne, that he hasn't come across other people, that he hasn't had to fight. But also, you can't tell me that those couple of years, even if he is a little rusty, is going to erase the 10, 15 years of fighting and knockdown, drag down fighting that he had to do.
okay, so I'm going to help you with that.
If she
First
say
of
he
all,
on vacation one more time.
I will bring that point up. Even over the years, you will get rusty. And even though he fought people, they wasn't of quality. They were CD level. Okay.
But
my video game people, you'll understand. They not even close to the boss. Okay. Daryl has had to fight bosses. And when he fought bosses, there was a threat to his lives, his friends' lives. So it was an extra adrenaline rush to that fighting the boss. Okay. So now it's been some time. He fighting people who eating rats and turtles. And pigeon birds. I mean, they not worth they can't. I mean, he got them. And he had his bow and arrow. You know what I'm saying? And he has had assistance. Okay. So now he coming to another country. He's a little thrown off. I won't say vacation. You know, common sense, some of the skills that you have learned. He's not a Navy SEAL, friends. He's not a Navy SEAL. He hasn't learned to do this in all atmospheres and environments. So he gets over here. He's fighting someone who is the leader who has fought others to show that he is the boss.
mm-hmm.
Daryl been on vacation. Too many margaritas, you're a little sluggish.
Know what?
Okay. So you're not fighting the same way you would have fought Beta. Because Beta, that really was like life or death. He like, oh, I can take him. We're rolling on the roofs. I mean,
But you don't think this fight with this officer is life or death?
For him, I don't think he feels the threat like he felt the threat with. Like Beta, he probably thinking, this man probably could kill me. No, when he was fighting Beta, he could actually kill me. This dude right here, he's like, I probably got him. I got him. He's not really that much of a threat. But guess what? You are a little sluggish.
Here's the thing. When that
you'll be ready next time.
When that same dude was shooting up nuns in the Abbey and you had access to a gun, you should have killed his ass then.
Correct. But common sense. But you are helping my reasons. You are helping my cause that he is off his game because of the travel.
I need him. Okay.
He was going to shoot him. But remember the little old lady nun came and knocked the gun away. He was about to shoot him.
Okay, but after I was going to say after the little old lady nun died.
You should have killed him.
At that point. He had him in his sights. He was like, eh. And then the nun lady was like, don't kill him.
Okay. All this to say, Daryl Dixon, I need you to get back on your shit.
Right. That's basically it. He has to. But now he is prepared for the next fight. Like,
I don't know, because he just fell through that roof. I don't know what he prepared for.
I said he'll be prepared for the next fight. Like, oh, this is a person who is equal of skills or higher.
He punched the boy in the little club for trying to juke him. Remember?
But that ain't no.
That's not.
That don't count. Okay.
No, that's not comparable. That would
not fighting the boss. Boss level fights. No.
No.
Because ultimately, that would be his boss level, because the head lady, I mean, she ain't finna fight like
Madame Genet. No,
yeah,
she's not
gonna
gonna
fight like that. So that's the boss right there.
But I will say this.
It's like Alpha. Alpha wasn't. I mean, Alpha would kill you. You know, you may want to be scared of her, even though she looked like.
Madame Genet looked like she would whoop some ass.
She does, but Daryl can clearly take her. He will be able to take her because she hadn't fought. She hadn't fought in years.
But we don't know this. But
who she fought?
But we don't know because we don't know that much about her. But
we don't. But I'm saying she has it currently. When you are the president, leader, whatever she is going to
no.
She has her men to do.
No, I'm gonna
stop
you.
Think she been fighting? Who she been fighting?
She had to fight. This is a female who is in charge of a very male dominated.
I got you on that, but she already proved her point, and she got her loyal men.
How do you think she proved her point?
I said, but it's been some years. But it's been some years. I'm gonna tell you, because once you do it, if you do it correctly, you don't have to keep doing it. If you keep doing it, that means you did not set yourself up for success. So now you're saying that she has not set herself up for success.
No.
I
that's
believe
not
that
what
she
I'm
has.
saying.
Because I think they're scared of her. See, all they have to do is, if she can just get them to be scared of her and she did the stuff she needed to do, she don't have to fight.
Okay, but on that same token,
because I wouldn't want to mess with her, because she gonna turn me into an experiment.
Well, that too. But here's the thing: you get people to follow you, you get people to be loyal, but after a few years, that starts dying down. Think about
if you do not.
Listen. Let me finish my thought.
She don't have to fight.
Think about the way Negan was with the Saviors, because he was right there, top of the chain, and then you start getting some dissenters. You got to every once in a while go back in and prove that you haven't lost your edge. So I agree with that. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh no, she hasn't fought in a few years.
I totally agree with you. But her intelligence and how she running things, she don't need to fight. That's why I want you to get. The shit she's doing is way worse than fighting. You be like, I'd rather fight her than to deal with the stuff that she's going to put upon me. Mm-hmm. That girl is peeling toenails off of people while they still living with a walker eating their brains and pouring acid on them all at the same time. That's what she doing. And you see that, you be like, ugh.
Wait, when did she do it?
Might not want to mess with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? You get scared. And then the men tell these stories. Those stories become worse than they really were. And then you be like, I'm going to follow her. And then all she got to do is come out there with a gun and shoot somebody in the head. That bastard was late to work. And you be like, oh, shit.
You're not loyal because you didn't show up to work on time.
Right. You eat the chocolate cupcake. I told you, don't eat those cupcakes. She cut my tongue out. And fed it to a walker in front of me.
I don't know, but I will say this. If Daryl ends up coming face to face with that woman, because obviously, you know, this one lone American he's like really fucking some shit up over there.
He needs to be scared, because she gonna be the one to tie him up and get Laurent. She will find the rabbit that was his friend when he was in 5th grade. This is why
he needs to go ahead and kill Cadron, because that's the person going back to report to her.
Yeah.
What you tell her, I'm gonna find him, I'm gonna bring him to you, and I won't stop, I won't quit.
Right. And she would be the type to have him tied up and watch the people that he has currently met, everyone he has encountered, tortured, experimented on while they still alive. I'd rather you just kill me. But no, that's not how she moves. You can tell.
But you know, this is the real question. How they find him so quickly? Like, not even
because of the map.
No cell phones. Yeah, no. Because he go to the nightclub and he was like, we know he was just here. Who told you he was just here? And so
Oh,
he's
people are talking. What was it that Falou said? Information is a commodity. They probably pay some people. The people that's sitting out there guarding. He was probably like, "Oh, okay, so I need to know if there's an American here." Somebody
to me,
done
he
said
just how you
some.
just showing up. That's if it take a pigeon 2 months to get a message, how?
Well, one, Cadron has vehicles. He has cars and jeeps, so he's
Yeah.
not flying. He's not traveling by horse-drawn cart.
But
Two, we also have to remember that before they stopped at Algiers, they stopped at that orphanage. So it's possible that Cadron, especially if he was looking at the map, and the map literally had the red flag pinpointed at Paris. If you're familiar with Paris at all, and you've heard these rumors about this organization, this rebel organization or whatever, you're kind of going to know where to look for certain things. If he's like, oh, they're in Paris, oh, they probably are here. And again, him being at the Abbey, they left all kinds of information behind. So it's possible he knew exactly where they were going. And if you are familiar with the way things work, if you know this is an American, he's trying to get home, there's only one place.
Only American.
Well, I mean, we only met one other American, and he was the one that was in the city keeping. So,
and I do have a little problems with that, but that's side note. There got to be a few others because I'm thinking, but you know what? Probably not, because
think about the fact that there's hardly any people walking around like we see. So. Yeah,
no, I get it, because we will be, touring and, on vacation.
And 20 years from now, 20 years from the start, them Americans probably found a way to go home, or they're like, you know what?
Home. They're dead.
Huh?
They're dead. If I am over there on vacation, living in the hotel, like, I don't know a friend's a farm to go to.
Well, think about Victor's husband and his folks in Fear the Walking Dead. They were in the hotel because they were on vacation,
they did good,
and they couldn't get back home. Maybe the Americans are off living their good life in a hotel near the beach because the walkers can't swim. Well, you know what? This is in France. These French walkers are way different.
Are different. We may not have survived.
They might have some breaststroking walkers over there, so we don't know.
And if you needed a hairpiece, you wouldn't be able to find one.
You know what? I thought we were gonna get through a whole episode and not talk about a hairpiece. But so
everybody here should be looking rough right now. I'm just saying.
It's possible that he was able to get there that quickly. And again, if you are, even before he started working for Madame Genet, this was a man whose job it was to not necessarily keep the peace, but he was the one that was going finding these kids to recruit for soldiers. He was the one training these people. So a person in his type of position, they have to have their ear on the ground. They have to know where people will go for certain things. And even when he walks into the club, Quinn is like, Madame Genet and I have an agreement. My club is off limits. So obviously Madame Genet knows about the club. Why wouldn't Cadron? But maybe she was the one who told him, okay, hey, why don't you go check this place out? Because they do shady stuff there. And if you're looking for a way to get around that's kind of off the books or out of the way, that might be the first place you go.
But I don't think they know that he looking to get off the island. Get out of France.
They stole him to bring him to France. So obviously he would want to go back home.
No. I'm saying, I don't think that my thought is they're not thinking that he's, doing all this and search for a radio so he can leave. Because to me, my thought would be, number one, you in some sea, somewhere,
Mhm.
you know you came off this boat. My thought would be, I want to get him back because he escaped more than anything, not knowing that he's trying to get back home, so to speak. My thought would be, I lost my prisoner, let me get him back.
Well, it might not even be that they're thinking that he's trying to get home. That he knows that they're looking for him. He knows somebody is looking for him. Why would I want to stay? I'm going to try to find the first thing smoking, flying, slithering, whatever out of the city. I'm trying to get the fuck away.
True.
So,
True.
yeah, I mean, but either way it goes, even if he's trying to search for information like, oh, these people kidnapped me, I need to know who these people are and what they're doing. Even if he's looking for that kind of information,
Yeah.
Quinn's place might be the place to go get it. So, I can't imagine that there's a lot of those types of establishments, around. So it's not like he has a whole bunch of places to choose from.
Right.
You might literally in Paris, you might literally have that one place. And I have the feeling if there was something similar in Paris, Quinn seems the type of person who would knock out that competition real quick, because he wants to make sure that he's the only source of information, that he's the only source for goods, commodities, whatever might need to be traded. Mm-hmm. He wants to make sure that he is the person in charge, the person in demand, the person that you're going to go to, so that he can kind of make those kinds of relationships like the one he has with Madame Genet, where he's like, okay, my club is off limits. What does he have to do in order for his club to be off limits? Is he giving her a share of the cut? I mean, because again, it's not like money is a currency that we really need, but this man has drugs. This man has alcohol. I'm telling what else he has that she might need. He might have his ear to the ground and knows where to get weapons. And she's like, oh, okay, I need some guns. Okay, I'll give you the guns, but you turn your back on everything else we do in this club. Mm-hmm. You can't really build that kind of relationship with someone as important as Madame Genet if there are competitors around. Like, oh, okay, I know Quinn told you he can get you this, but I can get you this and this. Nah, Quinn is going to cut that out. So it's very possible he is the only place they can go to, and that's probably why they found him so quick. She was like, yeah, go check here. Because even if he hasn't seen the American, Quinn probably has enough eyes around the city to tell him that something is up. Oh, we got people in the city that we've never seen before that aren't regulars. Again, they don't have a lot of people walking around France. We've said this since episode 1. So if someone different comes into your periphery, you're going to be looking at them like, who the fuck are you and why the fuck are you?
That's true.
And Quinn would definitely be apprised on all of that stuff.
Okay, pause 1 second. I see, because it just got to the part where they was on the little bridge talking, and Laurent he heard them. He came up behind them, and then that's when he was like, I hate you both. So
he did.
Them. Okay. He heard them, and then he said, I hate you both, and ran out the window. They were standing like right in the open.
Okay, so
he heard their conversation.
Let's go back to Daryl, Dixon, and common sense. Since when are you having these kinds of open conversation where everybody and their mama can hear you? It's not like y'all have rooms with doors in this place.
You just talking in your regular, normal speaking voice.
Right.
Whispering. You ain't nothing. You like, hey, this little boy and your ass. Now he done heard you, and he's like, I hate you both.
So now he knows. So if that's the case, now he knows the truth. He knows you're his auntie. He knows that Quinn is his dad. And if that's the case, he knows that you are his auntie that has lived with him all of these years, never said anything.
Not a word.
Never treated him as family. Like you treated him as the nun of the abbey, as, a caregiver, a protector, not like family. So he has even more reason now to be like, I can't stand you. Because I've been wondering who I am all of this time, and you could have told me all of this time.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, you've been feeding into this, or you've been believing this whole thing about me being the savior, me saving humanity, whatever this is. It's kind of like it's like the Dumbledore effect from Harry Potter. It's like you're raising the pig to slaughter. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but when you have someone like Laurent, let's just put it out there, the thought or the assumption that he could be immune to this, whatever it is that makes them change, because of the fact that his mom was already turned when she gave birth to him and it didn't affect him in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
In order for that to be used to help humanity, chances are there's going to be a medical procedure involved. Chances are it's going to be a medical procedure that he may not be able to survive. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yep.
that adds different layers to that whole situation. And just again, how Izzy should have handled it from the get-go. And again, I really kind of feel like she kept her distance because at some point she realizes she's going to have to let go of him. And if she is emotionally attached to him, she may not have the strength to do that. I really think that's the only reason why she has not told him the truth before now. And if that's the case, that's very selfish of her.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But she's been moving
And it's also at the
whole...
same time, it's very unselfish of her because she's putting humanity's needs first.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess I'm the type, if it's a choice between my child and humanity, I'm sorry, humanity.
I don't look at it as her putting humanity first. Because like Daryl said, if that's truly what it is, let this little boy know what he ain't no little baby kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's old enough to comprehend and understand. So if you feel like this is what this child is, tell him that. I agree with Daryl on that aspect.
Yeah. Let him make his own decision.
Yeah, he needs to.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the rate y'all going, trying to be all hush hush and secret about everything that's going on, you could tell with this child, once he find out something, oh Lord, the world is over and he got to run away. But if you go ahead and just tell him what is going on, because like he said, that's a lot of pressure to put on one person. You know what
like
I'm saying?
They're literally treating him like a messiah when he walks into the nest.
Yeah, and then he's a little ass kid. So it's like, I'm living up to an expectation that all these people have of me, and I'm not even sure what that level of expectation that they have is. I just know that some kind of way they think I'm very, very special. I'm a very special kid.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Yeah.
I'm special to what? Because
for what?
Because even when they was walking and like in the beginning, and Laurent said to Daryl, "You won't die in Paris." What? Like,
right. That's the other thing. I was like, so is this something he's just saying, or is this something that he feels, or is this because again, I feel like they're kind of sort of trying to introduce like a supernatural element with Laurent, but of course there are also things that are happening simultaneously that you can use to explain that.
Right.
But if this is a child that is seeing things or has premonitions, I mean, again, if you think back to the early days of The Walking Dead, when we would see the dead people start to transition into the walkers, remember they would show us like flashes of what was happening in their brain, and they would have like these different little flashes of zombies or people and just different little things. I'm wondering if Laurent kind of gets the same kind of flashes because of the fact that his mother was already turned. Like, does he have any of those special I was going to say special effects, but
Just some parts of his brain that is
maybe
awakened.
overactive. Yeah.
Because of all the stuff that's
Mm-hmm.
happening to your brain when
Mm-hmm.
while you're transitioning, it could have, it really could have, like, just.
So yeah, that's the kind of
Mhm.
thing I'm kind of wondering if they're trying to show us with this, like with this character. Like we don't see a lot of, I mean, we almost see none of the supernatural elements in this show, aside from people getting up from, waking up from the dead and walking again. But or that last little episode of Tales that we still haven't talked about, where there was like a ghostly figure that Michelle refuses to discuss with us. Like she don't want to talk about this. But aside from that, we really haven't seen anything of the supernatural. So it's kind of like, we're only 3 episodes into this show. We have 3 more episodes to go. So I don't know what else they'll show us about Laurent or what else they'll tell us about his background. But it's kind of like, I wonder, is he seeing things? Maybe not like, oh, I can predict the future or whatever, but there might be certain things that he knows or that he feels or has a sixth sense about. I don't think that that's anything, out of the, I don't think that's anything extreme, because even in everyday life, you have people who are so empathetic and so sensitive that they can sense those type of things, or they can kind of see those type of things. So I'm not saying it's something that can't be. It would just be interesting if that's where they're going with this character. But again, I feel like everything that they're showing us where it could have an unearthly explanation, they're also backing it up with an actual explanation. Like, oh yeah, I know it seems like this, but it's really this. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. But the way that he said that was kind of, it was eerie. Don't worry, Daryl, you are not going to die in France. You got a main line to someone that told you?
Yeah.
Like, so
he's on the main line.
He seemed very sure about that. So I don't know. That was kind of interesting. But I guess as we get into the other episodes, we'll see more about his character, and I don't know what the deal really is with him. Because I'm not saying he's special in that sense, but something is definitely off about that child.
I know what could fix it.
A whooping.
A whooping.
How I know you
right on up.
I don't know if that would help at this point.
I'm just sorry. Just to go back, like, it would solve so many of your problems if you just tell this boy what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think we talked about this on a previous panel about it. It's not that he needs a whooping. It's just that he's been sheltered and not aware.
Yeah.
And the things that she's doing, you're not helping the situation because, he doesn't know how to really express his emotions. So he's finding out a lot of information and he's acting like a kid. But you can't act like a kid during this time. But he hasn't been trained not to act like a kid during this time. Mm-hmm. So it's hard.
Because he's been the only kid for so long.
Yeah, but no, that ain't even it. Because I feel like if Judith was the only kid, okay, let's go back. Carl was the only kid, but they taught him how to survive.
Mm-hmm.
But
he made mistakes.
He different with Carl because Carl had 10 years, 12 years living in a regular world. He knew how to socialize.
Even in the beginning, he was making some errors, but they were teaching him as they went.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
Within a year of everything happening, he was learning that.
But he was still doing some dumb shit.
And that's fine. But he was learning. This friend has been how many years? How old are we saying he is now?
I think he's like 12, 13.
He's 12, 13. Nothing.
But you can't compare the two. Laurent was born literally at the start of this.
No. I understand that. You could not take him outside the gates and teach him. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you still haven't trained him. You didn't train them. Then all the nuns are trained killing nuns.
Yeah, but no, why would
you got him reading to a dead person?
You see what I'm saying? Like, and then
that's
you don't tell
that's
him
a whole different thing.
You don't even tell him truths.
But you know what? If you think about it, Izzy, given the lifestyle she was leading before she came to the nunnery, and then her having to lead a different type but almost similar lifestyle, like her lifestyle before the nunnery was full of lies and secrets. So that's something that she understands. That's something she knows how to do.
I get that. And you can still lie to him in a different way to make him feel like he knows something. No, but you still can train him. Like if something happens to you guys.
No, because here's the thing. If you are thinking that this is a miracle child, like
he needs to protect himself.
Their whole thing is we're keeping him in the gates.
I got you.
We are going to be the ones to protect him. I mean, like you said, all the nuns and everything, they knew how to fight. They knew how to shoot.
So he couldn't practice with them?
They probably
you can see where I'm going with this.
They're living in a country that is already creating child soldiers. Their mindset is going to be, we're going to keep him as far.
So your opposite thing is, if something happens to us, let's just say the common cold takes all these adults out in this building, you have now left a child who can't defend themselves.
And I get what you're saying, but
I'm not asking you to make him super soldier. I understand that. I'm not asking you to make him super soldier, but he has to be enough to protect himself.
And I get that. And I agree with you, but I'm trying to get into Isabel's mindset. And
first of all, Isabelle makes dumb choices. So we know what her mindset is.
But she thinks that she's protecting
the
most important thing in the world.
Yeah, because I mean, she has made dumb choices.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So she's just living in she's still living in the denial stage of all of this, to be honest with you. She really is. Because if he is going to be something special, we're going to make sure, okay, I'm going back to the Terminator. May not be right, but she knew her son was supposed to lead them. So she trained herself fiercely, but trained him to not necessarily be like her, but to get away, steal cars, get money, like be able to survive if something happened to her. Mm-hmm. And to know the clues of what to stay away from and who to go to.
Yeah.
They could have did simple things like we're playing baseball, but really you're kind of showing him how to do some karate. Yeah. I mean, you could have dressed it up in a different way.
I mean, I agree. I definitely agree, but I just
don't, because the nuns went out in one day. The nuns went out in one day.
All of them.
Yeah, I just don't think that's where her mindset was. I think she probably thought she would have more time and she would let him be a child first. Because like Daryl said, this is a huge burden to put on a child. I don't think she was expecting for Cadron to show up at the Abbey and do what he did. I don't think, she wasn't expecting Daryl to show up. She wasn't. They lived a peaceful life for 12 years. Nobody ever came.
Right. So were you gonna wait till he was 30 when you're dying to say, oh, let me show you how to kill a walker?
Nah, she probably would have waited until he was like 18, 16, or 16, because I think in France, legally, I think 16 is where so she probably
would have waited. I don't think she would have waited 16. They would have just been living there. And he'd be like, let me go off. And she's like, no, you're special.
No, I don't think so, because eventually he's going to have to go do whatever he's supposed to be doing for humanity. He's going to have to become the Messiah, whatever that entails. So I really think she was just trying to protect his childhood for as long as she could. And again, that's not something you can really do in a world
in the situation that you're in.
Yeah, but
that's what I said. I just think she was in denial, and she just didn't know what to do.
I don't know.
And guess what? All the other nuns just went with her. Yeah, but behind her back, they were talking about her.
But what make her the beacon of light to give all the direction? What make her the
Because
That's his aunt.
because that's his aunt.
Yeah, she's the aunt. So they were like, we can't say nothing.
Yeah, like it's not like, well, I mean,
They could have said something.
they could have, and technically
Because,
speaking, they
I'm
probably
sorry.
could have kept the child and they could have kicked her out.
But I'm sorry, because reading the Bible to the dead priest, what life lesson have we learned from that? What's the lesson in that? Please let me know.
He was reading to his friend. Leave him alone.
Oh my gosh.
But now that you outside them gates, what you gonna do with that skill? Talk the walker to death? What you gonna do?
I mean, I got nothing. Like I said, I agree.
He's special.
wholeheartedly
Like
with
his
Michelle.
specialness is going to kill a walker.
I agree wholeheartedly with Michelle. Like I said, I was just trying to look at it from Izzy's point of view and why they.
But that's why I said
do what they needed to do.
Right, and that's why I said he didn't need a spanking. He just needed better
Guidance.
parenting
And training. And I
mean, not even that, like how to hide from a walker, something. Help him.
Yeah,
himself.
because even when they were trying to hide him in the abbey from the people with the guns, his ass was still trying to get out.
Because he didn't know.
I know.
Because if I tell you to stay in this fucking room, why is you fucking with the doorknob?
Right.
Because when they used to say that,
and don't let nobody in. Don't open the door.
But again, that
stay
is
here
part.
Till I come back for you.
Part of that is due to what Michelle said. They didn't train him. So this
they
boy
taught him how to listen. No,
he has no impulse.
They taught him how to listen.
He probably has no impulse control. He probably has never been told no in his life, as far as like, yeah.
You can't be so naive that you don't sense danger.
If you've been living up behind,
I don't give a damn. I don't care if you've been living behind closed doors. You know, if you hear pow and see somebody fall, oh, that's not safe for me. I want to stay far away from that as I can.
I know.
And if you say, oh, something bad coming, stay in this room. Maybe
he thought that was how he was supposed to be the savior. Maybe he was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to go save these people." I'm just saying, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Sir, by you coming out of that room, you have caused a ruckus.
Because now they know a child is here, and they're like, "Oh, wait,
we need him for war now." Because you don't want to sit your ass down in a damn closet.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if they had killed all the nuns, he would have just been stuck in that closet.
No, he wouldn't have. No, he wouldn't. He'd have got out. As bad and rambunctious as he is, he'd have climbed to the window or something. He'd have got out. He would not have stayed in. He would have been free.
Look, I'm pulling a Michelle. I'm trying to explain stuff.
No. You gotta. I mean, come on. You gotta be even a 2-year-old. You got a baby running through the house. They see them stairs. They're gonna be like, "Oh, wait a minute. That don't look right."
No, but they fall down first, though.
But I'm saying, but they gonna look at it and be like, "I'm gonna try." No, not him. He's just running full fledged for the stairs. No, you just gonna
because he never had. It's so sad we had this conversation because he never had the falling down the stairs. Because the kids, you fall out the bed, you realize don't jump on the bed.
Yeah,
they hadn't let him do that yet.
Yeah.
But they have emotionally stunted this human being.
Yes, exactly. Taught him how to listen. Listen.
Obviously they didn't, because if stay in this closet, keep the door locked, don't come out until I come get you.
No.
And you start fumbling with the lock so you can get. Obviously they didn't teach him to listen, or if they taught him, the lesson did not take.
Because he never experienced like danger. So he's
that's what I was saying.
They're playing a game with me. They're playing a game.
They
would come out in 10 minutes for my birthday cake.
No. If you are reading to a man through a door and he's growling and trying to get at you, why you ain't getting close if you don't know danger? You just go to the door and read to him. Let me whisper in your ear and read to you. No, you know what danger looks like. If you get too close to this man, he gonna eat your ass.
Well, he got a little bit of common sense.
Yeah, like, come on, yeah. Don't get close to the wall.
But not enough common sense to sit your ass down in this
No, because there was no other danger. They were playing a game, hide and go seek.
Nah.
You know what? We're gonna get off this child. We're gonna get off this child. He wasn't raised.
Would have solved it all.
He wasn't raised the way he needed to be raised. Like you said, Michelle, he really should have been raised similar to the way Judith was raised. This world is all Judith has known as well. And she literally had a sword put in her hand at 4, even though it was a toy sword. And even though her and Mama Michonne was sitting there play fighting, she still had the upbringing to grow up in this world. And that was Rick's, that was very much Rick's doing when he had the conversation with Michonne and told Michonne about Shane and about I had to accept that she was his in order for her to be mine, in order for me to be able to protect her, in order for me to be able to teach her the things that she needs to survive in this world. Rick had that mindset. He wasn't thinking, oh, she's going to be the little girl that saves humanity or whatever. He's thinking, I need to teach her to survive in this world. And when he disappeared, Michonne carried that on.
But in doing that, they ain't lied to their damn kids.
Well, that too.
They ain't lie to them. They ain't omit and leave out.
No, they were very honest. Yeah, they were very honest with them.
Yeah. So
because they really wanted them to be prepared to survive anything.
Right.
And even if you waited till he was 18, 16 to teach him, at that point, it still would have been hard. Mm-hmm. And then he would be pissed off too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't prepare me for this.
And you could have told me, I could have, made my decision, because Laurent might be like,
because honestly, to be honest with you, he don't have to really know that that's his aunt. He didn't need to know that. He didn't really need to know. He needed to know who his mom was.
Right.
And to be honest, she doesn't necessarily know who the dad is. You really don't.
She did.
We need a DNA test, but you don't. So you could just tell him about his mom, and that you're special. We don't know how special, what makes you special. I just feel like you're special because you were able to survive that. Yeah. That means you're a survivor. You could have been like that. You're a survivor. And maybe you as a survivor can help the rest of us survive and lead us to a new world. She could have spun it like that.
Look at here, Destiny's Child. They ain't no survivors. He can't even survive in a closet.
Oh my God.
Okay. I'm just saying what she could have done, but that's not what she did. And now you have someone who is unpredictable in a situation. You need them to be predictable. You need him to be able to listen. You need for him to not be lost and have a little bit of wit.
Just running off. How do you not even know that running off is unsafe?
Okay, I will say this. If I see 20 guys coming in the door with machine guns and starting to shoot people, I probably would run too.
I run.
No, that part I get. He ran off before that. He ran off and said, I hate you before that. So he ran off before the people even came in.
But see, again, and that's the thing.
No, stop making excuses.
No. I'm not making an excuse, but what I was going to say, and see, that's the thing that kind of made me wonder, because he said, you did this. I hate you both, which I took as you were the ones who let them here. Because before they went to the demi-monde, Cadron probably would have never found where they were. He found where they were because of Quinn.
But he left. The little boy left before the people came in. He got them they was on the bridge talking.
I know.
Talking. Then he said, I hate you. And he left and was going down the thing.
I know, but you're forgetting the first part of that sentence. He said, you did this. Which is why I said, meaning you led these people to our door. You are putting these people in danger.
He didn't say that first.
Yes, he did. He said, you did this. I hate you both. Go back and watch it.
Okay, I'm going.
He said, you did this. I hate you both. That's why I was like, oh, he knew that they were coming. And again, if he was up and walking around, he may have seen them through the windows and whatever. But if he wasn't, if he sensed it, then that's a whole other conversation about what Laurent can or can't do. But yeah, he says, you did this. I hate you both.
Okay.
Which in my mind means you led these people to this door, and now people are going to die because of it. Because you see towards the end of the episode when Isabelle is walking through calling Laurent's name, she's literally stepping over dead bodies. So I feel like whether he saw them coming, whether he sensed it, whatever, he knew that danger was coming, and he blames blames Izzy and Daryl for it. So, I mean, if he knew they were coming, I would have got on too. Like, yeah, let me get out of here before the shooting starts. Because once the shooting starts, you can't control where those bullets go.
That's true.
But let's see. I'm trying to think. We've talked about the dynamics with Izzy and Quinn. We talked about the glorious nightclub. Again, if a zombie apocalypse happens, please make sure I'm somewhere where the nightlife or the entertainment will keep going, because the governor he had, he was trying to do his little entertainment thing, but watching walkers fight gladiatorial style, that's not, no. Give me the drag queen, give me the singer, give me the dancers on the lyres, and give me all that stuff. Let me have fun with that. Anything else we need to discuss about this episode? I think we kind of got into our feelings about Laurent and the way he was raised, but I mean,
but that's what makes this such a great.
Because and realistically, it's just a hard decision to make either way of what you need to do during the time you needed to make, and what you thought was the right decision.
Yeah,
and
you can only do your best.
And let me just say this: I talk a lot of shit about whooping kids, but I ain't even whoop my kids. So.
Right? So that's what I'm saying. So I can't even follow it. I could be lying too. Yeah, I don't know who your mama and daddy is. We just found you on the curve. I mean,
but see, that don't make sense, because now all of a sudden you telling him stuff about his mama. Oh, your mama went to high school here and da da da. And, here's a picture of your mom, because Laurent had to sit here and think, how the hell you get a picture of my mama?
Yeah, because I went back to my apartment.
Right. So, and I just happened to stop by your mama's apartment and get this. Like, I can understand she might have told me, obviously, if she said your mama went to high school down the street, obviously mama was from in the area and she knew mama. But you to all of a sudden start sharing this stuff now, it's kind of like.
And I think Daryl is kind of weaving his way into her, like, he needs to know who he is and stuff. So, but my only, before we end, where's the drugs?
They probably left them at Quinn's place, because remember that they stormed out in a huff.
They should have took those. Those are good exchanges for things.
She would have had to go back down into that little lounge area, and Quinn would have followed them, because once all this stuff came out about Quinn.
No, did she take the drugs from I missed that. Did she take it from the fireplace, the whole container?
No, she didn't take the whole container.
Okay, that's what I was saying. Did she take that?
I think she probably put some of that back, because you don't want to give away all of your stuff.
Okay, I'll just make sure, because I'm like, that's some, that's pure. That's from before.
Right. So she probably
that's some good,
some
just good exchange for guns.
To go back later.
Protection. Okay.
I
missed that. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think she
that was it.
Just took some of it. So.
But she can make good choices about that, right?
You know what? And on that note, that is it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media, on all the social media at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.